session,
we will talk about the new topic, regulation of gene expression, right? So which comes in the chapter molecular basis of inheritance. What is the topic? It is regulation of gene expression. Regulation of gene expression, right? Now, what do you mean by gene expression? A gene, which is a sequence of DNA, will be there inside the nucleus, and the gene which is made up of DNA, since it cannot come outside the nucleus into the cytoplasm, it cannot come. If it comes, nucleus enzymes will cleave it off. So the information which is present on the DNA is decoded, or it's copied in the form of RNA. Then that RNA will express. See, DNA and RNA are coded informations. The cell cannot understand the code. We need to decode it in terms of proteins. That is called expression, means the gene expresses itself in the form of proteins. Protein synthesis. Now, protein is the language of the cell. Cell can understand, and the proteins are catalytic, proteins are physiological, they have so many actions to do. Understood? So, regulation of gene expressions. Genes should be regulated. Genes are expressed, and that expression should be regulated. If the expression is not regulated, so sometimes it might express less, sometimes it might express more, sometimes it might express even more, causing a disease symptom. Cancer is nothing but overexpression of the genes, right? Cancer is nothing but the gene which has lost its control, and repeatedly it is dividing to make a tumor, to make a mass, right? So you understood now, like regulation is how important for a gene. And if a regulation is such an important step in a gene, do you think that regulation is a simple term? Or you can regulate it at one particular point, you hold at one point of the gene, then the gene can be regulated? No, certainly not. So regulation of gene expression, it refers to a very broad term. Okay, so let us write down regulation of gene expression. Regulation of gene expression refers to a very broad term. It refers to a broad term. It is not just a simple term. It refers to a broad term, and it will not occur at one level. It occurs at various levels. There are several points where we can regulate the gene. It's broad term, and it may occur at various levels. And it may occur at various levels. Regulation can be exerted at various levels. Now, various levels of exertion of regulation is done in eukaryotes. So that means, let us see that gene regulation, you can do it in prokaryotes also, you can do it in eukaryotes also. In prokaryotes, how do we do? In eukaryotes, how do we do gene regulation? Let us see. In prokaryotes, how do we do gene regulation? And in eukaryotes, how do we do gene regulation? Let us see. See, in eukaryote, if you take a cell, eukaryotes have membrane bound nucleus. So that means this is a DNA. DNA gets copied to RNA. So DNA to RNA synthesis happens inside the nucleus. This RNA will be processed also. DNA is synthesized to RNA, and this RNA, before coming into the cytoplasm, capping, tailing and all, it will take, that's called processing. So processing of RNA also inside the nucleus. Then the RNA comes into the cytoplasm. Then the processed RNA comes into the cytoplasm, and this RNA will come and bind to the ribosomes to start the process of translation. Understood? So we are just recollecting. So what is gene expression? Here is DNA. DNA get converted to RNA. The process is called transcription. And the RNA which is formed, since it has to step out of the nucleus, it has to protect its 3' and also 5' and also. So it will keep a cap at one side, it will keep a tail at one side, and it will remove unnecessary, unwanted regions, non-coding regions called introns. So that will happen in the next step. After processing, then the RNA moves into the cytoplasm. The RNA moves into the cytoplasm and it binds with the ribosomes. It binds with the ribosomes and it starts the protein synthesis mechanism. So means you understood what are the various levels which I am telling. So if you see in eukaryotes, we can tell in eukaryotes gene regulation is exerted at 4 levels. So regulation is exerted at how many levels? Regulation is exerted at 4 levels. Now, what are the 4 levels of regulation where we can regulate a gene in eukaryote? Means the first level is transcriptional level. What is transcription? DNA to RNA. I showed it in the picture. DNA to RNA. So, this is the first level of regulation. What is that level called? Transcriptional level. It is called transcriptional level. We can stop the gene not to make an RNA. That is regulating at the transcriptional level. Now, the RNA which is formed after transcription is called as primary transcript. It is called as primary transcript. Now, this primary transcript, as I told you, it gets processed. So, that step is called as processing. So, the second level is processing level. You can regulate the gene at the processing level. What do you mean by processing? Means in processing, what did I tell? We will cap at one end, we will attach a tail at another end, and we will splice the introns. So processing means splicing, removal of the introns is the second level. Processing level means what is that? Splicing. Processing involves splicing. So when we do splicing, then the RNA which is thus formed, having a cap, having a tail, will be called as secondary transcript. We'll call it as secondary transcript. Now the first level of regulation, children, stop the transcription. The second level of regulation is stop the processing so that the functional RNA, processed RNA, is not formed. Then the third level, you are seeing here, the third level, the processed RNA moves out into the cytoplasm. This is called transport. So the third level of regulation is transport level. The third level of regulation is a transport level. Means, so it moves from the nucleus to cytoplasm, right? It moves from nucleus to the cytoplasm. So we can stop the gene, we can stop the RNA not to come into the cytoplasm. That's the third point of holding it. Transport level. Then it came out, the RNA came out. Now what it will do? The RNA, as soon as it comes out, it binds with mRNA, starts the process of translation. Now the RNA, the coded information which is present on the RNA will be converted into a protein. I told protein language cell can understand. Protein is metabolic, protein has physiological roles and all those things, right? So the conversion of the code present on the RNA into protein is called translation. It's called translation. So the fourth level is called translational level of regulation. So as I told, regulation in eukaryotes can be exerted at 4 levels. The first level is transcriptional level. The second level is processing level. The third level is the transport level. And the fourth level is translational level. So means in eukaryotes, you can regulate the gene at various levels, at 4 levels. What are the levels? 1, 2, 3, 4 we wrote. Now let us talk about bacteria, prokaryotes. In bacteria, this is a bacterial cell. This is the DNA, double-stranded circular DNA. Is there any nucleus there? Not there. So if nucleus is not there, then the point is, where will replication happen? Where will transcription happen? Where will translation happen? Means the simple answer is everything happens in the same place, in the cytoplasm itself. Everything is happening in the same place means there's nothing new. Means processing, is it required? Processing is required when it is synthesized somewhere and when it moves somewhere. So to protect this end and this end. So when everything is synthesized here, then I don't think like processing is required. So processing is not required. So we can tell in prokaryotes, my first question is there nucleus? Then your answer is no nucleus. No nucleus. My second question is, does it have split genes and introns, non-coding regions? Does it has prokaryotic lysine is so small, prokaryotic DNA is so small that it cannot afford for taking the unwanted regions and all. Means no introns means no splicing. So if I ask you processing is required, again, since it doesn't have any non-coding regions, we need not do splicing. No nucleus, and then you are telling no splicing. Splicing is also not required. And the third point, now, is any transport required? Is it there inside the nucleus? So is it coming outside? Since there is no nucleus, transport is also not required. I told you replication, transcription, translation happens in the same compartment. So means no transport also I will write. No transport also. No nucleus, no splicing, no transport, and since the bacterial lifespan is very short, before the transcription gets completed, before the RNA synthesis gets completed, from the other end, ribosome binds and the translation starts, protein synthesis starts. Means the bacteria is doing its metabolism in such a hurry way that before one process ends, the other process starts. What do you say? In bacteria, transcription and translation are coupled. Means both are happening at the same time. So fourth point I am telling, in bacteria, transcription and translation. In bacteria, transcription and translation are coupled. They are together. That means if once the transcription starts, I think we will not have a hold on the bacteria. It will do on. Translation also will start immediately. So means you understood that in bacteria, regulation of gene expression is predominantly at one point. So what is that? If you want to control bacterial gene expression, we can control it only at transcriptional initiation. You need to stop transcription only, because here you need to stop because processing is not there. Transport is also not there. Translation will start before the transcription completes. So we can tell that in bacteria, regulation of gene expression in bacteria, regulation is exerted. I will tell at one level only. Regulation is exerted at one level only. And what is that predominant site? Transcriptional initiation you should stop. So what is that one level? It is transcriptional initiation. We need to stop the transcription. Transcriptional initiation is the predominant site. It is the predominant site of gene regulation, children. Is the predominant site of gene regulation in prokaryotes. Did you understand this? So we started our topic, regulation of gene expression. We understood what is the significance of regulation. If we are not able to regulate a gene, it can become cancerous also. Sometimes the expression might become less, sometimes the expression might become more. So we should have a hold on controlling the expression of a gene. Then it's not a simple term, it's a broad term. It can be exerted at various levels, we are telling. It is true when it is an eukaryote, we are told like it is exerted at 4 levels. 1, 2, 3, 4 points we wrote. But in bacteria, because it's not having nucleus, not having introns, no transport, and that two, transcription and translation operate together, they are coupled. So only one level of regulation is there. What is that? Transcriptional initiation. Take the screenshot, then we will continue. Yes. Now, in summer, why do we wear cotton cloths? In winter, why do we wear woolen cloths? Because the temperature is changing, the environment is changing, right? So to the changed environment, the organism also shows changes. If the organism doesn't show changes, then it will not survive, right? So when environment of an organism changes, quickly the organism also has to adapt to the changed environment. So when the environment of an organism changes, then quickly the organism what will the organism do? When environment of an organism changes quickly, the organism has to adapt to the changed environment. Quickly the organism has to adapt to the changed environment. It should also get adapt to the changed environment. Then only it will survive, right? For its survival. If it has to survive, then it has to then it also has to adapt. It also has to show the changes in its body, right? That means cells of an organism must have an ability to turn on and turn off their genes. So if it is very hot, I'll switch on the fan, right? If someone is there, we'll turn on the light. If no one is there, there's no requirement of light, there's no requirement of fan, we'll switch off the lights and fans if no one are there. So why unnecessarily there should be a consumption of electricity? We'll switch on. In the same manner, cells in an organism also must have an ability to turn on and turn off the genes in response to the extracellular signals, correct? So, cells of an organism must have a mechanism. They should have a mechanism to turn on and off. Turn on and turn off of the genes when in response to the environmental signals. In response to the environmental signals. Did you understand? I took the example of light and fan. If someone are there in the room, then only we'll switch off the light and fan. If no one are there, we'll not unnecessarily waste the electricity. We will not switch it. So like that, the cells also, they have an ability when to turn on the genes, when to turn off the genes. It depends upon the external signals. For example, let us see, there's a beaker. In the beaker, you have taken a lactose solution. In the beaker, you have taken a lactose solution. And in the solution, you have kept the bacteria. Now, the bacteria knows how to use glucose, which is an instant source of energy. Now we change the environment. Glucose is not there outside, but what is there? Lactose is there. Then immediately to the changed environment, bacteria also should adapt some changes. The genes are already there inside the bacteria. What the bacteria will do? Now, for example, if we take this, right? For example, if E. coli is in lactose medium, if E. coli is in lactose medium, children, what is lactose? Lactose is a disaccharide. It is a sugar which is made up of two monosaccharides. Lactose is a disaccharide which is made up of glucose and galactose. You kept the E. coli in the lactose solution. Then what happens? External environment changed. Then beta galactosidase enzyme is synthesized by the E. coli. You know, when there is lactose in the medium, immediately the genes of the E. coli will be switched on and it codes for an enzyme called beta galactosidase. The beta galactosidase enzyme is synthesized. The beta galactosidase enzyme is synthesized. Now what will this beta galactosidase enzyme do? The enzyme will convert a disaccharide lactose. It will break the glycosidic bond present in the lactose and it will release two monosaccharides, glucose plus galactose. So these are instant sugars. These are instant sugars. From glucose and galactose, the cell can get its energy, right? So means if you are changing the environment, then immediately the bacterial genes are switched on and it's making an enzyme. That enzyme is breaking the lactose and giving instant sources, right? Now then, if the bacteria, now in the surrounding medium, if there is no lactose, if another condition, let us take, if bacteria is in the medium, it is in the medium where there is no lactose, around, it is in another medium, glucose medium or galactose medium. It is another medium where lactose is not there. So when lactose is there, I told the genes are switched on, beta galactosidase is made. When there is no lactose, then come on, tell me, genes should be switched on, genes should be switched off. I need the answer. So genes will be switched off. If bacteria is in a medium where there is no lactose around, then the genes are switched off. They are switched off. Now come on, if the genes are switched off, is there any production of beta galactosidase? No. So the genes are switched off and there is no production of beta galactosidase enzyme. There is no production of beta galactosidase. Unnecessarily, why it has to produce beta galactosidase when there is no lactose, when there is no requirement? So you understood that the cell, it has a mechanism to turn on its genes, turn off its genes in response to the environmental signals. You have taken bacteria, when the genes will be switched on, when the genes will be switched off, we have seen. So that means we can tell in simple terms that it is metabolic, it is physiological, and it is environmental conditions that regulate the expressions of gene. So we can tell, therefore, in simple terms, it is 3 levels of regulation: metabolic, it is metabolic or physiological or environmental conditions. All 3 are almost the same. Metabolic means because the enzyme is made. Physiological means the bacteria is demanding, because physiology is demanding that it needs energy. So in simple terms, we can tell metabolic, physiological and environmental conditions. What they will do? Environmental conditions, they regulate the expression of the genes. Regulate the expression of genes. Understood, Amma? Metabolic regulation is exerted, physiological regulation is exerted, environmental regulation is exerted to regulate the genes, right? Understood? In the same manner, even when the male gamete sperm comes and fuses with the egg, fusion, fertilization lead to formation of zygote. Zygote starts cleavage and then it will make an embryo, right? So the development of the embryo, the differentiation of the embryo into adult is also a result of the coordinated efforts of so many sets of genes. It's not that one gene helps in the conversion of an embryo into an adult or an organism. It is a coordinated effort of sets of genes, so which help in the development and differentiation of the embryo into an organism. We can write that also. So another example is the development and differentiation. The development and differentiation of what? The development and differentiation of the embryo into adult. Of embryo into adult is also the result of, so we are telling the differentiation also, the development also of the embryo into adult is also the result of coordinated regulation. Mixing up, coordinated regulation exerted by sets of genes, not just 1 or 2 genes, sets of genes together are regulated, which helps in conversion of an embryo into an adult. So genes regulation is very much important for conversion of embryo to adult. Gene regulation is very much important if you have to have control over metabolic processes, physiologic process, environmental processes. And then we told the cell has a mechanism to turn on and turn off the genes in response to the environmental signals. And then we told when the environment changes, the organism also changes. If it has to survive, it has to show adaptations. All these sentences, NCERT sentences only we are trying to understand, so that when any statement based question come, you will never make a mistake, right? So quickly take the screenshot, we will continue. Yes. Now, do you know what is transcription unit? Transcription unit is a part of a gene which has a promoter, structural gene and a terminator. Now, promoter is a region which is identified by the RNA polymerase, right? And RNA polymerase requires sigma factor for identifying the promoter region. So, there's a statement in NCERT, in a transcription unit, the activity of RNA polymerase at the promoter is regulated by its interaction with an accessory protein. I told you what's that accessory protein which comes and binds to the core enzyme of RNA polymerase, which helps in identification of the promoter? Sigma factor. Do you remember? Do you remember? So, in transcription unit, right? So, if you forgot it, let us see. This is a transcription unit. One end it has promoter sequence, another end it has terminator sequence, middle it has structural gene. Now, promoter is a region where the enzyme, RNA polymerase enzyme, comes and binds. Now, how can RNA polymerase comes and bind to the promoter? How it will locate it, how it will identify means RNA polymerase requires the help of sigma factor, which is an accessory protein. When the sigma factor, which is an accessory protein, comes and binds to RNA polymerase, then the RNA polymerase can easily locate the promoter. Then it comes and binds to the promoter. When once the RNA polymerase comes and binds to the promoter, transcription will continue. That sentence only we are writing, which is given in the NCERT textbook. So, in transcription unit, the activity of RNA polymerase, the activity of RNA polymerase enzyme. So, here in the picture I showed you, this is a RNA polymerase. The activity of RNA polymerase, where it is at the promoter region, is dependent on, I told you, when the sigma factor comes and binds to the RNA polymerase, then only its identification of the promoter becomes easy. So, then it is dependent on its interaction with the accessory protein, which is called sigma factor, is dependent on its interaction. What do you mean by it? RNA polymerase interaction with accessory proteins. Sigma factor is an accessory protein. Interaction with accessory proteins. When the accessory proteins comes and binds, then what happens? Which affects its ability to recognize the start site. When the sigma factor comes and binds to RNA polymerase, then it has an ability to recognize the start site. Interaction with the accessory protein, what did we tell? Which helps in recognition of start site. See, such a long sentence they gave it in NCERT. So, we have cut it into pieces. We try to understand it. Let's see once again. So, in a transcription unit, this is a transcription unit. The activity of RNA polymerase enzyme. This is the enzyme where it will bind to the promoter region. So, RNA polymerase to bind to the promoter is dependent on an accessory protein. What is the name of the accessory protein? Sigma factor. When the sigma factor comes and binds to RNA polymerase, then it can recognize the start site fast. Right? So, these regulatory proteins, I took an example of positive regulation. These regulatory proteins can act as both positive regulators also. In NCERT, the next sentence is, these regulator proteins can act as positive regulators also. What do you mean by positive regulator? Means it is an activator. Or it can act as a negative regulator also. The accessory proteins has two roles to do. It can enhance also, it can stop also. Negative regulator, what is it called? Inhibitor or repressor? Negative regulator is called inhibitor, or negative regulator we can call it as repressor also. We can call it as inhibitor or repressor, children. So these regulatory proteins can act as positive regulators, they can act as negative regulators. If they're acting as positive regulators, then the transcription will happen faster. If it is a negative regulator like repressor comes and binds, then it stops the RNA polymerase. No, don't do the transcription, it will stop the process. So these regulatory proteins can act as positive regulators also, negative regulators also, right? The accessibility of the promoter region. So this is the promoter region. The accessibility of the promoter region to reach the structural gene, you know, it is controlled by another gene called operator region. So after promoter, operator will be there. After operator, structural gene will be there. So NCERT has given one more sentence that the accessibility of the promoter region in many cases. Let us write down. Accessibility of promoter region in many cases. The accessibility of promoter region in many cases. You are seeing here, in many cases is regulated by interaction with another sequence. I showed you what is that sequence. Beside the promoter, operator is there. The accessibility of the promoter region. The accessibility of the promoter region in many cases is regulated by its interaction with another sequence. What is it? Another sequence. Another sequence called operator. Another sequence is called operator. Right? So that is why promoter and operator in many cases they'll be side by side. So interaction with the sequence called operator. So that is why operators are adjacent in most of the cases. Operators, we'll write in most of the cases. In most of the cases, they are adjacent to promoters because the promoter is taking permission from the operator. The promoter is taking permission from the operator. If it has to reach the structural gene, it has to slide over the operator, then only it can reach. So operator in most of the cases, they are adjacent to the promoters. Okay. And in most of the cases, you know, operators are blocked by repressors. In most of the cases, operator will bind to another protein called regulator, repressor. In most of the cases, operators bind to repressors. Operator bind to repressors. You told what is repressor? Repressor is a negative regulation. I told you when repressor is there, then the process will stop. So where can repressor bind? I showed here the repressor binds to the operator. If the repressor binds to the operator, then can the RNA polymerase move from the promoter? Can it reach the structural gene? It's blocked. Operator is blocked. It cannot slide, right? So first point we told regulatory proteins can be positive or negative regulators. Positive regulators, activator, we took the example of the sigma factor. For negative regulator, we took the help of repressor. Repressors, where do they bind? Repressors bind to operator. Now if the operator is blocked, then the RNA polymerase and the promoter gene cannot move on. It cannot do the transcription. Hope you understood what is the role of promoter, what is the role of operator, and a gene which is under regulation. The gene which is under regulation is called operon. What is it called? The gene which is under regulation is called operon. The gene which can be regulated. Jacob and Monod are the scientists who coined two words. They are the people who coined the term operator. They are the people who coined the term operon. So they are telling the genes which can be controlled, the genes which can be regulated are called as operons. So each operon has a specific promoter, they'll tell, has a specific operator. So each operon has its own promoter and operator. Each operon has its own promoter, has its own operator. Like for example, if you take lac operon has lac promoter, lac operator. There's so many operons, children. Arabinose operon is there. Tryptophan operon is there. Valine operon is there. Right? So there are so many operons, lactose operon, arabinose operon, tryptophan operon, valine operon. So like that, each operon, what is operon? You understood. The word operon and the word operator were introduced by Jacob and Monod. Who introduced the word operon? The word operon was introduced by Jacob and Monod in the year 1961. They introduced the concept of operon. In the next lecture, we will take lag operon and we will study to take permission from the operator to move to reach the structural gene and do the transcription. So then we are telling each operon. What is operon? Operon is a gene, like this gene, which can be regulated, and each operon has its own promoter and operator. And since they are working together, promoter and operator in most of the cases are adjacent to each other. They are adjacent to each other. Hope you understood the content of this lecture. Now, in the next lecture, we will take lag operon model and we'll understand the regulation of gene expression in a better manner, in a detailed manner, taking lactose as an example. So if you like the content, like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.